Golf Central on YouTube is brought to you by the new elite family of woods and irons from Callaway.
One of the big storylines over on the PGA Tour is Rory McIlroy defending his title. He is a four-time winner of the Truist Championship, although, of course, those wins have come at Quail Hollow. Now, the Masters champion is making his first start on tour since finishing tied for 12th at the Zurich Classic of New Orleans with partner Shane Lowry. So since his Truist victory last year, McIlroy has made 23 worldwide starts with 4 wins, including the 2025 Players, and of course completing the career Grand Slam at the Masters. And he spoke with the media ahead of his title defense.
Rory, literally around the world, millions of people were wondering, is this guy ever going to win the Masters? So there was so much emotion vested in it. But in your own mind, did you always have faith that you would win it?
Yeah, I mean, I always had hope. It's not as if I wasn't going to show up at Augusta and feel like I couldn't win. The week that I feel like that, I'll go up there for the champions dinner and swan around in my green jacket, but I won't be playing. But yeah, I always had hope. I always felt like I had the game. And like I think as everyone saw on that back nine on Sunday, it was about getting over. It was, I don't know what the right phrase is, but defeating my own mind was sort of the big thing for me and getting over that hurdle. So, look, I'm just glad that it's done. I don't want to ever have to go back to that Sunday afternoon again. I'm glad that it finished the way it did, and we can all move on with our lives.
Do you mind a quick follow-up? Did you always imagine the idea of putting on that green coat? Was that clear in your mind?
No, that wasn't really. That's, to me, whenever I think about these things, I think about the golf. I think about the sense of satisfaction of winning the tournaments. And so I never imagined the Butler Cabin ceremony. I never imagined all that things. I imagined hitting the shots that I needed to hit to win the golf tournament.
You mentioned things getting back to normal, but next week you're going to arrive at a major for the first time in 10 years without questions of the drought kind of hanging over you. I'm curious, as things have settled and you approach the major, how do you feel differently now that question's no longer there?
Yeah, I think there's a few things. I'm obviously going to feel more comfortable and a lot less pressure. And I'm also going back to a venue that I love, so, it's nothing but, positive vibes going in there next week with, what happened a few weeks ago, and then, with, my history there and how well I've played at Quail. So, it probably will feel a little bit different. I probably won't be quite as on edge, as I have been for the last few years when I've been at major championships. I'll probably be a little bit better to be around for my family, and I'll be a little more relaxed. So. I think overall it'll be a good thing.
It certainly will. Well, as I mentioned, looking at his record at the Truist Championship, he's a 4-time winner, but these all did come out of Quail Hollow Club back in 2010, 2015, 2021, and last year in 2024. And now he's looking just to become the 14th player in tour history to win the same event at least 5 times. So, Paige, obviously McIlroy is in excellent form, both mentally and physically, coming off that Masters triumph, a renewed confidence, less pressure. Last year, dare I say, was the year of Scottie Scheffler. To what sense do you feel like 2025 could be the year of Rory McIlroy?
I feel like we have the opportunity to recycle themes with Rory McIlroy throughout the year. In fact, keep that graphic on ice, because we'll be using that again next week as we head into Quail Hollow and the PGA Championship. But as it relates to this week in Truist and how he's prepared, he's never had 2 wins going into the Masters. Then he had capped that off with a win at the Masters. So 3 wins heading into this week to try to defend his title on a golf course that he does not know. And that got me thinking, Anna, yes, if he goes to Quail Hollow, very familiar, trying to defend a title, but how does he do on new venues? And so I took a sampling of what we've seen over the last couple of years when he's at new venues. And this season, he played the Texas Children's Houston Open, finished tied for 5th at a golf course that he'd never played before on tour, Zurich Classic last year, again, partnering with Shane Lowry. They won. You can see 2 wins in his last 4 starts at new golf courses. And then the final 3, you can see those major championship venues that did rotate. So he has great history when he's at a fresh new venue. And I think for a player that's been on tour for 15 years, this is going to be a theme that going to a new venue, you get to dive into the yardage book, you get to relearn and enjoy why you probably fell in love with the game to begin with. And that's the love of learning a new golf course. And for him, that's going to be part of the challenge this week.
Yeah, that's really interesting. Just one finish outside of the top 10 on new courses since 2022. I like that, Paige. Well, Rory was out today practicing this afternoon at Philadelphia Cricket Club. You just mentioned there his ability to win or have a top finish at a new venue. Take me inside some of the numbers. What stands out to you about his game specifically right now?
I think the biggest thing over the last couple of years, one of the things that I've noticed with Rory McIlroy is this desire to continue to improve, to get better, to find those incremental areas of improvement. And over the last couple of years, I saw, he straightened out the driver, doesn't have quite as many left misses. Last year was the best inside 10 feet of his entire career. So a couple more things that I've noticed this season that's continued to make these incremental improvements. And I'll go from inside the bag, from tee to green. And one of the big things is swing speed. He continues to improve throughout the driver in increasing that swing speed, getting the distance up. This year, slightly down from last year. I'm talking less than a half a mile per hour. But over the last couple of years, improved by 2 miles an hour on the swing speed with the driver. That's important because we know how important the driver is to Rory. He's still hitting a ton of fairways. Then when we talk about the wedge game and the approaches between 125 and 150, and I know he's had a lot of criticism over his career in that area. This year, it's pretty good. He's 36th on the PGA Tour, right at 22 feet. The last 2 seasons, he's been outside the top 100 from this distance, and that's going to be a key component on next week in particular, where he's going to be hitting driver a lot and having short irons in his hand. And then we'll go to what I think to be maybe the most dramatic area of improvement, and that is his scrambling stats. So far this season, this is the ability to get up and down if he misses a green, and ranked in the top 10 on the PGA Tour. You can see that percentage at nearly 70% scrambling. Again, this is market improvement from what he was last year. And a lot of this part, it's a 2-part stat, scrambling. Actually, I'd say it's a 3-part stat. It's where you miss it, leave yourself in a good position, as well as chipping and putting. And putting, we've talked a lot about Rory McIlroy's putting over the last several years, not just this year, but the last several years on his improvement in putting and on the greens. And you can see, again, top 10 on the PGA Tour in strokes gained putting, nearly gaining a half a shot a round. So when I look at Rory McIlroy, I'm just in awe of the fact that he's maintained this high level of play throughout the entirety of his career. We're talking 15 years on the PGA Tour, and he's still making these incremental improvements and striving to be the best that he can be, but also trying to chase down Scottie Scheffler to be the best in the world once again.
Yeah, it's going to be his first individual start since that Masters victory, which is going to be an interesting dynamic to see what kind of a mindset he's in. Talking about the golf course today, he said it's kind of going to be a bit of a bomber's paradise. It's not too tricky off the tee, and we know how much of a weapon that club is for Rory. So we are looking forward to watching him get his first round underway. That will be tomorrow, 12:26 p.m. Eastern, alongside Tommy Fleetwood and Justin Thomas.